Hello, hello, hello. My name is Kim Marie Walker, and I am a manager in clinical operations with Syneos Health Organization. Syneos Health is a clinical research organization which acts as a middleman between the FDA and the sponsor. Sponsors are companies that make the drugs or make the medications. And so I have been working with Syneos Health. In September. It will make 15 years. This is something that I've wanted to do from the beginning. Let's see, I started, went to college for pre-med for biology. And my biology professor, I could not understand a word that she was saying because she was so fast and she had a very strong accent. And I even bought a tape recorder and it didn't work. So I ended up changing my major to chemistry. And it was the best thing in the world for me. I love chemistry. I wanted to do research. I thought being in a lab was the best thing. I worked in the lab, and I think that's the shortest time I've worked. I worked for 3 days and I quit. And that's the only job in my life that I actually quit. Um, I didn't understand it. It was boring. And then my mentor advised me that the reason that I couldn't stand being in the lab is because I was a people person, and that the research that I was passionate about was there. It just wasn't in the lab with a microscope. So I went on this journey, worked with a doctor. He did research in his office. So I actually worked directly with him where we had patients come in. We asked them to participate in the various clinical trials in reference to diagnosis that they had. And I collected all the data, their blood pressures, their EKGs, chest x-ray, anything that was required for the protocol. And basically, that's what I did for about 19 years. The doctor's practice grew. His private practice grew so much that he really didn't have time for clinical research. And that's when I went out and started working for the clinical research organizations. When I started with the clinical research organizations, my only degree was my Bachelor of Science in chemistry. And so, therefore, most of the time when you go to a CRO or if you go into clinical research, the only requirement is basically a high school graduate, but it is better to have a college degree. It doesn't necessarily have to be in medicine, chemistry, biology, it doesn't have to. If it does, then you have a better chance of getting a higher position. We love RNs, we love MDs, so registered nurses, medical doctors, anyone that is, it just shows that how further and how much up you go into the field. Most of the companies did not previously provide trainings. There are several clinical research organizations out there. You also can work for the actual company. You can work for Pfizer and you can work for Bristol Myers Squibb and various companies like that, that not necessarily require training. They will do on-the-job training in the field. So you do have the opportunity to work with clinical research organizations or with the company themselves. Skills that are most important for this position, you need to be a multitasker. You need to be passionate about what you want to do. You need to be organized. You need to be a great communicator because you work with several people. So you have to be able to talk. You have to be able to lead. Even if you are in an entry level position, you need to be able to lead the team from your perspectives. There are various jobs in this field. You can be a clinical research associate, which is a monitor that actually goes out to the various doctors' offices or the hospitals and actually monitors the data that you collect when subjects, patients are on studies. You can be a clinical trial manager, in which you very seldom go to the office, but you do follow up and work with the CRAs. You can work in study startup. There are so many jobs in this field, and every last job, every last position is important. The part of the job that I find most satisfying is that as we do research, as we establish what research is about, we are looking at not just helping people that are actually doing the study or participating in the study, we actually are looking at their children and their grandchildren and their great grandchildren, because the information that we find as we do clinical research is going to help their family and someone else's family. The most challenging thing that I find about my job is, and this is more evident now, is that people of color are not taking advantage of being participants in clinical research. And that's because of historical events. But the only way that we can help everyone is for everyone to be a part of clinical research. So that is the most challenging thing for me. As far as the economy affecting this industry, well, I can say it's probably boosted the industry because the clinical research, of course, that's part of COVID. Clinical research is part of diabetes. Clinical research is part of high blood pressure. Clinical research is part of any and every diagnosis out there, cancer. So all of that stuff is still going and is going to always be there until we find cures, if there are cures. If there aren't cures, then we work on trying to find things that help the quality of life for each person. Changes that have occurred in the whole clinical research atmosphere is we have a lot more people that are fishing and trying to get the information. So we kind of have gone on lockdown, and all of the information is confidential. We're not allowed to do a lot of things that we were allowed to do previously, because we have to really, really ensure that the patients, the subjects, all of those that participate are protected and safe. So as far as the changes that occur, like I said, we are more on lockdown. We need to get out and get more people involved in clinical research. And I think that this is one of the things that I love about the medical field. There are so many areas of the medical field that you can be a part of. If you love being in the throes of being in surgery, you can be in surgery. If you want to be in clinical research where you can be in the lab with a microscope, you can do that. If you want to be at doctor's offices and making sure patients are taken care of, you can do that. So clinical research to me is not a job. It is definitely a career. And I am very appreciative that I am able to use the degree that I graduated with in my everyday living, in my everyday going to work. And so if you are interested in clinical research, look it up. It's exciting. There are so many opportunities. And if there's not an opportunity, guess what? We can make one. So I hope that you enjoy just checking out what clinical research is about. Thank you.